Gentlemen of the press, lady and gentlemen of the press, good evening. I came to see Mr. President to give him a first-hand, detailed account of the circumstances surrounding the crisis that you all have read about, that we have witnessed in Ogun State in the last couple of weeks. I thought it was important, as the President and Commander-in-Chief, that he should hear from me, his governor, on what exactly is the true account of what happened in Ogun State. And I can share that with you, even though I'm sure that most of you are already aware of what truly happened. About maybe 3 weeks ago, we had a situation where some of our headsmen were attacked somewhere in Ogun State, but particularly a local government called Yewa North. Yewa North local government happens to be one of the local governments where we share borders with Benin Republic. Following this attack, we discovered that some of the herdsmen and their cattle either sustained injuries, or some of them, we could not find them. They were missing. We assumed that after a few days we would locate them. But when after almost a week that we couldn't find them, suspicion began to, the situation became very tense. We're all aware that occasionally we have skirmishes between herdsmen and farmers. But in this particular occasion, the farmers came out to say they had no hand in it. They jointly began to look for these missing herdsmen. It was concluded that the herdsmen must have been attacked by bandits, for a lack of a better word to describe them, that came from across the border. We, in experience, have had people across the border, Beninese, claim that our headsmen crossed the line to graze on their grounds, in their farms. And when that happens, they attack them viciously. So it was concluded that this attack must have been carried out by these people across the border, and it appears as if the missing people must be in their custody. Up until now, all efforts to find these missing people have been in vain. This was playing out when, about a week later, a gentleman or some people came from a neighboring state and came to incite our farmers living in that same area, that Yewa North and Imeko local government area of Ogun State. This was a follow-up to what happened in Oyo State. They came from Oyo State and said, following the clashes in Oyo State, they are warning their brothers in Ogun State not to allow Fulani herdsmen to find refuge in Ogun State. And as they departed, they destroyed properties and left that in their trail. So against the background of the tension that had already built up following the missing persons, this led to attacks, counterattacks, reprisals, and the situation began to degenerate. The state immediately set up a special security task force that comprised of members of the Nigerian police, the Nigerian army, the state security services, the Nigerian civil defense, and some of our local vigilantes, to ensure that we have peace and instill security in that area. I must say that that area is an area that is very vast. We have some very large forests there. And these people will come from the forest, attack people at night, and run back to the forests. As the decision played out and things were going from bad to worse, I had to call on my colleague governors from the north to come and join me in a stakeholders meeting. That stakeholders meeting we had on Tuesday. I was joined by the governor of Kebbi, the governor of Niger, the governor of Zamfara, the governor of Kano, and the governor of Ondo State, who incidentally is the chairman of the Southwest Governors Forum. We were also joined by the president of Meitiala and the Seriki Fulani of Lagos and the Seriki Fulani of the particular area where these incidences were occurring, and other Seriki Fulanis, and Farmers Association and traditional rulers. It was a very successful stakeholders meeting. We spoke to everybody collectively. We spoke to them also separately. I believe that my governor colleagues did what I did not imagine was possible. I was so touched by their show and display of brotherhood. They spoke to the very core, individually and collectively, to everybody that was at that stakeholders meeting. And they gained, I think we managed to gain the confidence and trust of everybody. It was an opportunity for everyone to tell us what was on their mind and what had truly transpired. We rose up from that stakeholders meeting with a few conclusions, one of which was to form a joint stakeholders committee that will comprise of the Fulanis, the herdsmen, the farmers, and government. That has since been put in place. That committee is going to be sworn in, I think, sometime this evening. We made available pickup trucks, motorcycles, telecoms equipment for the joint security patrol team to further strengthen security along the areas where this incident had occurred in the last few weeks. I'm glad to say that my colleagues further demonstrated their commitment by actually donating to all sides, to the farmers and to the Fulani community. I must say that the Fulanis have lived with us in Ogun State for hundreds of years peacefully. The Seriki Fulani from that particular corridor speaks Yoruba better than I do because his father was born there. Part of the problem we realize that we have is that of ethnic profiling. Criminals are criminals. And criminals abound everywhere. There are criminals in Yoruba land, there are criminals in Igbo land, there are criminals in Niger Delta, there are criminals in the north. And we see that even in the north, in the northeast, in north central, we see that there's criminal action. Governor Niger was with me, spent the night with me. By the time he got back to Niger State, 50 people had been kidnapped. And we cannot be profiling them based on ethnic grounds and saying, oh, the Fulanis kidnapped, Fulani men or Hausa men in Niger. But our people have had a problem with drawing a line between peaceful Fulani people who are traditionally herdsmen and bandits who are castle rustlers who will steal cattle, take the cattle to farmlands belonging to people, attack them, and our farmers and indigenes now take that, and do, carry out counterattacks against innocent people that have been living with us. And again, we notice that our media has not particularly helped us. Social media have become such that people are quick to send messages around on WhatsApp, on Instagram, of things that are not true. So many messages have been shared and sent around. Some of them we've seen that there are videos of places that are not even Nigeria. Some videos are videos that of incidences that occurred last year. But people are quick to share these videos around. And this is causing disaffection amongst our people. We don't have any other country but this country. And it beats me why anyone would be in such a hurry to spread fake news and news that can immediately cause a problem between us and our brothers from different parts of the country. We don't have any other country but Nigeria. We must be responsible in journalism. And yesterday we rose from NEC resolving that there must be stiff penalties for people that are propagating fake news, because fake news is threatening the unity of this country. And I want to implore on you who are traditional print and journalists, and that we must be responsible in reporting things. We must try and report news as accurately as we can. I appreciate that you want to create sensation. That is how you sell your newspapers and your TV advertisements and all that. But we cannot, threaten, the security. This is a national security issue. So I came to brief the president on what I just shared with you. I'm glad to say that right now we're enjoying relative peace. We intend to sustain that peace. We've enjoined all our Serikis and our farmers to keep a list of those that live on their farms in register, so that when strangers come in, they will know who are strangers amongst them. It's a hope that the federal government will also now look at how to better secure our borders, so that people don't just cross our borders, cause crime and run away. And then these forests that we've now seen that are places that continue to harbor criminals, we must do something about them. We know there are people that live in the forest legitimately, but there are so many people that live in those forests illegitimately. We must definitely do something about those forests. These are some of the things that we found to have aided this violence and escalated it. And we believe that if the right steps are taken, we can manage the situation and we can live together as brothers and sisters as we've always lived for so many years. Thank you very much. Well, I must say that the president was very impressed with how we've dealt with the matter. He particularly commented that the steps we've taken are steps that he has always recommended, that we must have a joint stakeholders committee that has farmers, herders, traditional rulers, and government, and that this committee should meet like once a month. I will say to you that in Ogun State, on assumption of office, I appointed senior special assistants that are SSA's, ethnic matters. I have one that's a Hausa Fulani. I have one that's from the southeast. And from time to time, this standing committee, just like the president suggested, had always met. This is why, if you recall, during the NSAS protest, Ogun State was probably the most peaceful state during the NSAS protest. We didn't have any burning of anybody's houses, or any looting of anybody's houses, or any looting on any of any warehouses, because we've sort of have had a way of managing, our internal issues. So this is what the president said, and he commented that we had handled the situation quite well. Thank you very much. Eshio.